Well, hello, everybody. I am Joe Drennan, and I'm with Divine Mercy University. And thank you for attending our Master in Psychology online webinar. And we are very so fortunate to have a great guest tonight. And we have her name is Emily Hirshorn. She graduated last year from the Master of Psychology online program. And Emily, she offers both creative and practical approaches given to her background in the financial services. That is where she works. She doesn't, necessarily do, psychology and counseling, but the she did get a recent certification in inspiring comfort. These are workshops to help in skill and connection and care, which should bring, a lot of joy to people. And, Emily was, very happy with the time she spent at DMU as a master in psychology student. But, she was also working full time in the financial services industry. So, but she's located in New York and she hopes to continue the university's mission by sharing its unique Catholic Christian methodology and approach to healing, which is needed so much in a clinical and non-clinical way. And she believes her age. She's been out of college 5 years, but it enables her broad perspective to help folks at different ages from different universities and different you know whatever you graduated, whatever subject matter. And but she did graduate from the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, with pretty high honors too. And she was also a residential assistant while attending University of Notre Dame. So what I like to do is I want to ask Emily some questions. And please listen. If you have questions, put them in the chat. But well, first of all, Emily, what attracted you to Divine Mercy University?
Thanks, Joe, for your intro. I'm honored to be here. Thanks, everybody, for joining. So I first learned about Divine Mercy when I was an undergrad at Notre Dame. I attended one of those Focus Seek conferences. They're Catholic conferences for university students. And Divine Mercy had a table set up. So it was kind of my first exposure. And one of the speakers at the conference said, you know what the world needs more of is Catholic psychologists. So that really stuck with me. I walked away with that little seed in my, mind starting to bloom. I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to explore this more. And what exactly is Catholic psychology? I didn't know there could be a uniquely Catholic lens to it, but that excited me. So it took a couple more years after that, after graduating and starting my full-time job in finance. The idea kept coming back to me, and I wanted to pursue it further. So yeah, I was definitely drawn to DMU because of that kind of mission statement, but also out of curiosity for about how psychology as a science could also be theological and kind of bringing that together, since theology was also another one of my pursuits undergrad and in life.
Well, that's a great answer. So, but um, when you graduate from college with your bachelor's degree, and the next step is, well, maybe I'm going to get a master's degree someday. But what motivated you to start and complete your master's in psychology with Divine Mercy?
Yeah, definitely. Right. Because, you undergrad can have a very academic approach, like you know what you're doing. And then once you start a job, it can kind of feel a little distance from academia. And but I didn't want to forget it, right? It's like I will go back and I will do that. So I guess what actually motivated me to enroll when I did was actually during the pandemic. I think it was May 2021. So I had already had over a year, more than that, of working fully remotely, being at home with all my siblings also working. My then boyfriend, now husband, was also, working in our little cohort. And actually, it was him, Andre, who challenged me. He's like, "Oh, like you've mentioned this, psychology thing. What if you actually do it?" And I was like, "Okay, I guess maybe now is a good time." But I kept on thinking, "Oh, maybe I'll just catch the next cohort But he was like, no, you're interested in this. Let's get it going. So after some discussions with the admissions rep at that point, and also talking to current students, I was more convinced, okay, I can still keep, two tracks going at once. I can still work and also pursue this dream, which has been on my heart for several years, and kind of honor God with that, because I felt like he had, kept bringing it to mind. And so I enrolled. Selfishly, I think he's an investment banker, so he works a lot. So I think he also wanted me, to not be too lonely after hour. I'll have my work, and then I'll have some nighttime work that I get to do, to be in the trenches, while he's in the trenches. So yeah.
Well, it seemed like it worked out pretty well. So for you and Andre. So, but I mean, we have a lot of students who, I mean, they have a job, they're working full time, 40 or maybe more hours a week. And that, so, I mean, how did you fit your study time into Divine Mercy University for your master's degree studies?
Yeah. So I think, when you begin any journey, it's easy to kind of minimize the effort that you perceive. Like, okay, I love this idea. It'll totally be fine, okay, just, a couple hours a day. I'll just do it after work. But, once you actually start, you kind of realize, okay, like these are the demands. You're learning a new language of, APA citations, kind of getting in a new mindset. I think also my timing, I had a couple years out of college, so getting back into the academic mindset, writing, which I did miss, but still, you got to flex the muscle again. So, we're there Friday nights. So it's customary that we had discussion posts, due on a weekly basis. At that point, it was Friday night. I think it got moved to Saturday, but for me, it was Friday evening, midnight. So we're there Friday evenings when I was, kind of scrambling, getting things together after work, doing my readings, getting my post in, or even traveling in the back of cars, going away for the weekend. I'm like, sorry, guys, like, get my hotspot. I just need to get this post in. Or landing, from airplanes, being, what time is it? Okay, still got to get my post in. So, part of that was definitely me. I think I like the adrenaline of doing things, and a little bit of more tight turnaround. But on the syllabus, everything is laid out for the whole term. So you can make your plans, what's due. You could chip away at it every day, or you could find, different evenings where you want to spend more time. It's really up to you. That's what's great about it being mainly asynchronous.
Mm-hmm.
So for working, you kind of know when would work best with your schedule. But because of like the discussion, post component and needing to respond to people, there have to be strict deadlines. So I added them to my calendars and alerts, getting back into I have this weekly deadline. Was Netflix less part of my life then? Definitely. You make some sacrifices, you cut some things out. I also rarely made plans with friends on Friday nights just because I knew I had these, standing deadlines. But I am so grateful I did it. And I think now I'm kind of feeling like, I wish I had some tangible thing I was chipping away at. It felt so great every term to complete a course and have a new, depth of knowledge, and also kind of work towards that graduation one course at a time. I thought it worked really well.
So Emily, when you're going full go, for that 26 months or so, and then you're finished.
Mm-hmm.
And you're finished. I mean, what did you do with that extra 15 hours a week that you're not studying?
I was like, you don't want to know. I mean, I guess maybe I have more time for just like reading for fun instead of reading for school. Maybe a little bit more regimented with getting to like work out or try different hobbies, see family. But I feel like it kind of ends up being the same. Maybe it's just time wasted instead of time spent. But I do enjoy the free moments, and I do enjoy taking vacations without, you can take work off, but then you couldn't take school off. So I think it's nice to have vacations where I'm off from both. But like I said, I do kind of miss it sometimes.
Okay, yeah, because it's a routine, and
Yeah, it's a routine.
sometimes when not doing a routine, you feel not lonely, but like, what am I gonna do? So, oh, great, that's a great answer. So, But when you look at through the 11 courses that you took, or 33 credit hours, and that, what did you learn most?
I learned a lot. I think it's so great with the masters getting to really focus on one discipline of your own, choice. Like you've chosen this, you get to focus on it. So after work, I was mostly always excited to delve into the topics. So, I mean, maybe this is a non-answer, but I really learned more of what I do not know. I think the mental health space can kind of be almost boxed in or minimized, but I think I was opened up to be more curious, definitely less judgmental in receiving people and understanding their complexity as a person, as created by God, and also with, different layers, culture, family upbringing, vocation, genetics, like all these factors. And yeah, so I learned a lot as a person. I know it's definitely, I've applied principles in my marriage and my family life. I've brought ideas to work. Um, so yeah, and I learned that, I had basic skills as a, person with empathy and person who connects to others. But I was so excited to grow those more and be challenged in the different coursework and develop my writing and learn a whole new language. So
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like I just learned a lot of different things. I don't know if that's fully answering your question, Joe, but
So what did you learn most about Emily?
about myself. um, Well, I really liked one of the later courses in the sequence, which is about leading and facilitating groups. It's like kind of group work. It's the kind of a human services course. Um, and I guess I learned we didn't have concentrations at that point in time when I did the program.
Oh, that's
They were
right.
being developed. But if I were to do it now, I would probably lean towards the human services one because I loved all the courses that were categorized as that. Um, so I learned that I did have natural skills as a leader and that I'm not really phased by, complex or difficult situations. But I kind of had a hat of, I was told I kind of had the persona of almost like a high school uh, leader because I did lead groups as a high schooler and college student, but I had to adjust my approach when working with adults. So it was like good to just have like, okay, you have these skills, but we're gonna like change the context or yeah of it. Um, and I learned more about what we spent a lot of time on empathy, kind of like a no joke, like what is empathy? We got a demo through different
Yeah.
situations. I made, my husband, now husband Andre, be my like counterpart and go through different scenarios. Kind of, we still have those videos, kind of hilarious. But when you review yourself on video, you kind of notice a lot of new things. So
Mhm.
I learned kind of practical things about how I could adjust my leadership approach and approach to people when they have different needs that come up. But I also learned and was grateful for kind of the sandbox that we were shown where we would exist. So a lot of the professors have are doctors, either like academically or like medically in the psychology space. So I really appreciated when they brought in stories from their clinical experiences to help further like show and illustrate to us the theories that we were learning. But at the same time, also a gratitude for their work and also how it's different from what our work would be as MSP graduates, kind of referring out in those cases when, the scope is too broad for our knowledge. So seeing the partnership there, but also really liking learning about the clinical side as well. So I was grateful when the professors brought that in.
That's very well said. And one more question. And, our whole, I guess, foundation and which makes Divine Mercy University unique is that, the deeper understanding of the whole person, which we call the Catholic and Christian meta model. So, how did that help you flourish so you could help other people flourish?
Yes. So I think it's so amazing that, we call the CCMMP Catholic Christian Meta Model Human Person is really part of every course
Mhm.
And we review different excerpts and definitely cite it a lot in our posts and also use it in our eventual capstone project that you work on throughout the program. Um, so it's definitely the handbook for bringing together all these topics, psychology, philosophy, theology, coming together. Um, so I think it really illustrates the generosity of God and the way that he heals. You know, in terms of, and also other important things like evil not being foundational, but good being foundational, and humanity being created for
Mhm.
goodness and flourishing, and created for love and community. So being able to see the brokenness in the world, but through this lens and understanding that humans are made for more, is really positive. And also, we're not left alone in that. So, like God as being this creator and this healer is as part of the process from the beginning is really great and life changing. In terms of my own life, I think I was able to explore prioritization better, like levels of vocation and God. You can say, oh, God should be first, but really it's like, wow, our primary vocation is this, relationship with God. And then secondary is, you know, lay or married or priesthood. And then the third level is work. So I think work can sometimes feel like, oh, it's first, but it's not. So I think back to that a lot. And also, I think the discussion of virtues is so positive and enlightening. And really thinking through my own life, where are the struggles, what are the roadblocks, to not just generally being a good person, but being a virtuous person, being some person for others, a woman of God, but also having more understanding of the complexity of why people struggle. And I think exploration of addiction and everything, not just putting it on them, but understanding all this cycles and steps that have led them there. And yeah, I think just more generosity for the complexity. So yeah, the model is everything. It reminds me I should go back to it and explore it. Um, but I also encourage everyone on this call to watch the commencement speech from Dr. Paul Vitz from 2023, my grad year. It was amazing. It kind of tracks out the history of psychology as he sees it, since he was part of its history and shaping our university. And illustrating how the Catholic model really does go beyond what the secular approach to psychology can offer, and even what positive psychology can offer, because that focuses on virtues and everything. But it's still not enough, because he said you don't want to get someone from -10 to 0. We want to get them from -10 to 10 or something, like, and also not just focusing on this world, but focusing on flourishing in the next. Like, we're not just healing for a limited number of years, we're trying to heal someone to then be with God forever. So that is very different than secular psychology. Oh, yes, Jennifer, we will post
Oh,
the name, or I can even post the link for you. Let me look it up.
so that was a question from Jennifer, and she says, "What was his name? Is she referring to maybe Dr. Vitz?"
Yes, yes. And I can also post the commencement clip as well after we conclude.
I mean, I I met Dr. Vitz. He is just I'm not gonna say a bigger than life person, but pretty much. And he's just very on it and has great sense of humor. And but he wrote that 900-page book on the Catholic Christian meta model, so that was pretty good. So any other questions for Emily? Well, you put the YouTube, did you do that, Emily? Okay, great, thank you.
Of course. I might watch it again. It was so good.
Because I'm wondering, oh, well, I can say is this, Emily and Nathan, is that not everybody in the program's Catholic, but the Christian, or they have some type of faith, which is they believe that there is something higher, than us that guides us.
Yes. Thank you for your question, Nathan. It's a good one. So I think the great thing is that the framework, while it is Catholic Christian, is still for every human person. So, what is desired for humanity in terms of flourishing, um, is for every person, regardless of their faith. And definitely this comes up as a topic in several of the courses in terms of cultural awareness and like, other faiths and like how to be sensitive to the specific needs of the person. And really where they open a door, you can open the door too. Again, we're not becoming counselors, but in conversations, like other people will lead the way, and even recognizing a creator or an other factor in life has been shown to like aid with healing. But even if they don't have any belief, still being grounded in the framework in terms of its goals for the person is different than just a secular perspective. And approaches offered would also be different as well. Like marriage counseling offered by, the secular side can, suggest, immoral approaches like, oh, like this has happened. Yeah, I've heard it from others. Oh, just watch pornography together. Like that'll help with their intimacy. So like that's an example of when something, not positive, negative for marriage is introduced, but would not be introduced from a Catholic background. That's kind of an extreme example, but hopefully it answers what you're saying. But yes, sensitivity and awareness is definitely there, but not in terms of minimizing what we think is essential in terms of the framework that has been, developed and put forth by Divine Mercy.
And again, Emily refers to secular psychology. And, secular psychology is psychology that you learn from usually from a public university and many private universities. And it's just psychology. And, in our program, of course, we teach psychology. We have some philosophy, but we also infuse theology to where we don't have like a religion 101 course, but we may make references to the saints and the Bible to help you flourish so you can help other people flourish as you're working this.
Definitely. And it's not like actually the research literature written by Catholics is more minimal, so you're reading research literature that's, been written by all kinds of authors. So it's not like you always have the content isn't always specifically Catholic, but you always have this lens with which to review everything in the studies and how they're conducted and everything. So yeah, you really get the best of both worlds, like scientific rigor, like there's a statistics course that you have to take, very helpful, a little tricky, but helpful. And there's philosophy and, basically, yeah, as Joe has mentioned, it all fits together. So it's a framework, but in terms of the materials itself, you get to really review and come to your conclusions from them.
Right, because it's it's you're trying to find that deeper understanding of the people because sometimes you ask a question and to someone and how's it going or whatever, and they give you this, but then you ask another question, well, what about this or that, and they tell you more, and then then you ask another question on, well, how does that affect you or what have you on that, and but a lot of what we do is it's psychology is not telling people what to do, it's asking people, and and with their answers you use your skills to give them the best direction possible. But when you ask a lot of questions, many people, they'll figure out their own path because, oh, I get it, it's a eureka moment, and they can go from there and figure it out themselves, but they need you to help them with that part of their journey. So I have another question here is Well, I mean, so the question is, sounds great. I'm Catholic, but interested in helping those and background. Okay, you answered Emily, so that's good.
Supporting Nathan.
For
So,
Nathan. Oh, there's Therese. You know this person. So
yes, Therese and I were in the same cohort.
Yeah, from the
She got me through
beginning.
statistics.
okay, so
It wasn't that bad. Statistics is not that bad. It's all good.
Not bad, but it's great when you have.
It's fine.
well, I mean, these are all some really, really great questions. And I mean, I guess my question to everybody here is, you know, do you want to step up into that next level in getting a master's degree in psychology? That's going to take time. And I'm not going to say money, you can always recoup money. But it's tough to recoup time, so you can help other people help people. And that's what this is about. And we want to help people. There's so many problems out there today. And a lot of it, people, they just need someone to listen to them. But with your skills and what they tell you, you can direct them in the right ways.
Absolutely.
So, but anyway, we have Charisse, and Charisse was Emily's, classmate, and so she's a graduate, but she is an admissions advisor, and she enrolls for the Master of Psychology and the Masters of Counseling. So, what Charisse was going to do, she was going to go through we call it our little presentation about the master's degree of psychology online. So it's all yours, Therese.
Great. I'll just do a quick introduction of myself. Yes, my name's Charisse. I joined DMU here as an admissions advisor just last October, but I was actually a student at DMU since summer 2021. We were a great cohort. Woo. So Emily was in my cohort, and we were working together for two years to complete it, and we graduated and we were able to walk. You'll actually see it. It's very funny. It'll be on this deck, this little presentation that we give. So I'll just do a brief overview of the Master's in Psychology program. Emily, I'll just ask you random questions in between. Okay. So Divine Mercy University started out for the psychological sciences in 1999 as just a school for psychology. And in 2015, we expanded with the School of Counseling, so now we are expanded to university status, Divine Mercy University. And we are accredited through SAC, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, to award master's and doctorate degrees. And this is Dr. Julia Cloudsley, who is the program director for the MSP program. She is so kind. She is always able to reach out to students, and you're always able to reach out to her. You can even reach out to her now as a prospective student, and she would love to walk with you through what the MSP program entails. So the classes are 100% online. It's absolutely true. And classes really mainly are on your schedule. There are a few synchronous times where you get to meet with professors, but that's usually scheduled out at the beginning of each class, and it's usually recorded as well, and you can watch it again later. We're built on the integrative approach to psychology, which is we read this textbook almost cover to cover. It's called the Catholic Christian Meta Model of the Person. It's amazing. You get to learn to view each person philosophically, theologically, and psychologically. We are made in image and likeness of God, but we have rational thought and emotions, but yet we have vocations, we have virtues to live out. How do we incorporate all of that into our lives? Okay. And we also have 2 completion tracks, which are 16 and 26 months. So just over a year versus about 2 years. There's individualized feedback every week from your professors, and this was true. I'm very surprised how often they responded to every single thing that I submitted, which I thought was really neat. Small student to faculty ratio. There's different kinds of learning modalities such as video, reading, interactions with students, and we also have very experienced and supportive faculty. So honestly, there's so many benefits to the MSP program. Honestly, for me, the main benefit I got was really number one. There was a lot of self-reflection and a lot of understanding about yourself. Because in order to help others, you should also be able to understand yourself so that you can help other people. And my background actually before, while I was doing my MSP, was I was in ministry. I was a sacraments coordinator, so I encountered families, I encountered kids, teenagers, and a lot of different kinds of situations. So I actually needed to understand that I needed to be able to be a better leader, to be a better minister to them. So for me, that was the best understanding I can get from this program. And you'll get this whole idea from this program called flourishing. Not only are you personally flourishing, but you're also learning how to help others flourish. Emily, what was the best benefit? I don't know if you already answered this. I apologize. The best benefit you got out of the MSP program?
Oh, no, I didn't get that one. Um, yeah, I really like this write up here actually. Um, I would say definitely several of them stick out. Personal and professional flourishing, resilient and welcoming environments of mental health awareness,
Absolutely, that one. Yes.
um, evaluating effectiveness of programs. Yeah, I think I left with both qualitative and quantitative skills in terms of noticing needs, responding, and just having more compassion and empathy for the complexity of humanity, which I kind of touched on a little bit earlier. And then personally, helps my marriage, helps me as a colleague, more empathy, right? All these things. And yeah, just kind of I feel felt really connected, especially Divine Mercy. And I loved our cohort of students, and just really unique relationships and experience.
Absolutely. When you're talking about communication, I just remember two classes that I'm going to talk about here shortly, which was relationship interventions and group counseling. And those were really challenging classes for me to be able to work with people one-on-one, how to attend to people, how to show empathy, not necessarily sympathy. All of that was part of the MSP program. So there are several focuses and tracks in the MSP program. As you can see, I'm right here, and Emily's right here too. They changed this deck, so we're official now. We've graduated, Emily.
We were there.
We're there. So there are many concentrations: marriage and family, human services, which I call sort of like the mini counseling track, leadership, pre-PhD, self-design, where you can choose electives, and the bioethics track. There are 8 core courses. So the intro to psychology here, developmental psychology, which was so impactful for me as someone who works with families always, psychopathology. Oh, give me one second. I was working on something.
Gone. Are you doing the?
Yes. I apologize. One second. So sorry. Developmental psychology, psychopathology, cognition, emotion, motivation, vocations and virtues, statistics class, social psychology, and research methodology. Here is the marriage track with the 3 electives for marriage, human sexuality, marriage interventions, family systems. And this is really for people who want to help couples and families towards flourishing. And then this is for those who want to sort of work more on people one-on-one, meeting human needs, doing social services, so relationship intervention skills, personality, individual differences in intelligence, and group counseling. And you have your 3 leadership courses designed for people who are currently working in ministry or want to improve the relationship with their coworkers and the people they work with. Okay, so transformational leadership, leading people, programs, and organizations, and applied leadership skills are those electives. And this is the one I chose. Actually, I chose self-design. I did 3 different electives. I chose relationship intervention skills, transformational leadership, as well as group counseling. Emily, can you speak on maybe 1 or 2 of these tracks that you like?
Yeah. So I guess I mentioned earlier, we kind of were in the program when the concentrations were forming. So I also end up with what you call self-design. If I were to do it again, I would probably do the human services because I like the quasi counseling kind of practical courses. So like relationship intervention and then the group counseling and group work were definitely some of my favorites. We did, oh, we did get a question from Nathan about counseling, but I see that you'll follow up on that. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed all the courses for different reasons, but they do bring, work different parts of your brain, it felt like. And kind of to respond to you, Nathan, I know you'll get a further follow-up later. The program in MSP is not to become licensed in certain states. Divine Mercy does offer a full-on counseling program, which you can also explore. But for my purposes, I didn't want to become licensed, but I wanted to just generally become more adept in identifying, responding, and leading in different situations and being more attuned to the varied mental health needs that are out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I actually probably would have done the same thing because I'd heard this class was amazing. Personality, individual differences, and intelligence. So Nathan, I will talk with you probably briefly that the Master's in Counseling program leads to licensure. It is twice as long. It's 66 graduate hours with 700 hours of clinical. And it's very different from the Master's in Psychology program, in which you are actually wanting to become more of the one-on-one restorative healing. Okay, becoming a licensed practicing therapist. This is the pre-PhD track where you actually get to finish a master's thesis. So instead of 3 electives, 2 of those electives will turn into thesis writing, and you also get 1 free elective. So if you want to do like PhD, this is the track for you. And then the newest track we have so far. Yes, it's okay. Sorry. This is the bioethics track, the newest track that we have, which is really for those who are working in healthcare or constantly engaging those like ethical situations facing life, death, maybe vaccines, gender. So this is a great course. We have a certificate course for this where you take a few of our core classes and finish out your 9 credits of electives through the NCBC, which is the National Catholic Bioethics Center, or you can actually complete the full MSP program and use those bioethics courses as your elective. This is a great new partnership we just gained, I think the end of last year. So again, the learning experience of the MSP is that you get the ability to work anywhere, anytime. And you have continuous access to the online platform. I mean, while I was on vacation, I was able to download audio and and video on my phone. And it was really great to have that ability. You have 5 sensory learning points, different ways to learn during this program. And again, your weekly individualized feedback from the professor. This is the core faculty of the MSP program. All of them are either PhDs or PsyDs. And of course, Dr. Klausley, who is our MSP program director. I mean, I had a class from every single one of these professors. Emily was right along here with me. All of them were really fantastic, and all of them have stood out to me. And then also, when you start the MSP, you're assigned an advisor as well. My advisor was Dr. Williamson, and just briefly, one of the professors that just stood out to me was Dr. Cusimano when she did group counseling with me. I mean, my particular cohort was more introverted, and she was the extroverted professor. I don't know how to explain this, but she just made group counseling, as daunting as that class was, really, really fun and engaging. So here are the general MSP acceptance requirements: bachelor's degree. Applicants must have a 2.5 GPA, 2 letters of recommendation, resume, to a written statement of intent indicating how your goals are aligning with the goals of the program. Your TOEFL or IELTS scores if you are an international or from a non-native speaking country. And there's also a mandatory virtual orientation with the program. So of course, is grad school affordable? Because we are accredited, we do qualify for federal aid, so student loans. You can also check your employer if there's any tuition reimbursement through your employer. We have approved veterans funding through the GI Bill. And we have a lot of scholarships and grants where you can look it up on our website. Our university, after you apply, does one-on-one meetings with financial aid so they can help you figure out and determine all the scholarships and grants that are available to you. Alternative financing include private funds. Any parish or diocesan support, you can really ask your parish or your church if they can help you fund your grad school. There are a lot of Catholic nonprofits or even nonprofits in general that can help match funds. There are possible grant programs in your area and cash plans. So I was a full-time worker while I was a part-time student. So I was able to set up monthly payment plans through DMU. That was really helpful for me because it's also interest-free and it didn't hit the bank as hard. And of course, any other family assistance savings. So this is the direct cost, tuition, and fees for the program. $850 per credit for 33 credit hours. That is 11 courses. Comes out to $28,000. With the tech fee and the residency fee, comes out to $28,850. But of course, again, that's not all upfront. That's paid out in time, and they'll only ask for the money that for the classes you're about to take.
Can I add some of that to Therese?
Sure.
That includes your books. And
it does include your books.
Books. Today, they're very, very expensive. Man, you're looking $300 to $500 per book. So times 11 books, that's what, $3,300. But this is included in the tuition. That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks, Joe. Yes, this is basically all in. There's really no extra fees outside of, I think graduation had some fees. Other than that, this is basically all inclusive. Doing the 16-month track, which is the full-time student route, will give you about a 25% discount on 4 courses, comes down to $25,500. And if you're doing the 26-month course, which is the part-time route, $28,050. So really the main difference is for the full-time route, you're taking 2 classes at a time. And the 26 months, you're taking 1 class at a time. Really great for our full-time workers who want to keep working while gaining their degree, and those who have the time to do the 2 classes at a time. That the 16-month track is great for you. Okay. So just in general, I would love if there are any other questions. The MSP program was honestly really great for me. One of the things I never really got to go realize that I was able to do was you create a project called a capstone project, and you research and you find a need locally to you, and you research and you create a solution for that problem. For example, when I was working in ministry, I was the First Communion coordinator, and I completely revamped the First Communion program. Now, you didn't have to implement it, but I did. I did a lot of research on small group learning, developmental psychology, that millennials and Gen Z learn differently from Gen X and the baby boomers, for example. All of that culminated into this program where I now do parent formation as well as children formation, because I realized the kids don't care if the parents don't care. So I created a whole new parent formation program for First Communion, and it's still ongoing at my parish today. And then I would just love the MSP program so much. It taught me so much that I'm also now an admissions advisor for this program as well. Emily, do you want to talk a little bit about your experiences with your capstone?
Um, sure. So my capstone was about fertility awareness program for teenage girls. And I really enjoyed, exploring this topic because there's actually not a lot of research literature about this specific type of program for teens. There's only about like one other study that seemed similar, so it was kind of exciting to see that, and also develop a program. Again, it's in theory. I didn't actually implement it, but I think it was a really good um, challenge. I think to not just I kind of be just an ideas person. So I was like, no, you have to implement this, implement it. How are you going to track it? How are you going to see if it was successful? So yeah, so from like start to finish, and you chip away at it in the program. So it's not overwhelming because it's course by course. Like, okay, this is the snippet that you're going to do. You get comments, and then you move along. So by the end, you're definitely pleased with what you've created. Um, but yeah, that I don't know if that kind of answers your question, Trace.
Oh yes, perfectly. Because we had so many different kinds of capstones. There was one that wanted to introduce special needs programs at their parish. There was one that wanted to look more into um, ongoing marriage education for elderly. Um, there was so many kinds of capstones out there, and it was just beautiful to actually see that. Um, but you got to see everybody else's project evolve as well as you go through the program. And actually, I thought that was really beautiful to see that. Okay. So if you're thinking about the master's psychology program, think about what your goals are. Think about what you're looking to do in the next 5 years. What do you see yourself doing? Does this, because it's asynchronous, really think about whether or not you have the time, and if you're able to work with it around your schedule. Think about the financial options discussed, and then we can also talk with you about with financial aid in that regard. And can you commit to the successful completion of the program if accepted? So for those that are very interested in this program, we still have an early admission scholarship. Please go ahead. We can go ahead and send you the application link. If you turn in your application, just the application, not yet necessarily, the documentation yet, you could be eligible for $1,500 scholarship, early admission scholarship. Okay. So the next start will be summer, May 21, somewhere in there, mid-May. Mid-May will be the next start. The next start after that will be in August. So we have 3 starts every year: January, May, and August. So you have that time to really discern the timing that works out for you.
So if you apply for May, I mean, we have orientations that are going to get you ready for online learning. Some of you may have, did online learning. That's great. Some of you have not, but we want you to know how to do it our way. And that's probably what Sharice, about 15 or 20 hours a week, or 10 or 15 hours a week on your own time to do that. Emily, about the same.
About
For orientation, to get you ready for online learning. So, I mean, we want to.
a few hours,
we
definitely every day.
Okay, all right, very good. You got your time scales. I mean, because we want you to succeed. So.
Yes, I think the most interesting part was getting to know the library, getting to know how to do APA style writing was so intense. But that was part of the orientation. And don't worry, professors are generally kind until towards probably the second or third class, where they really start saying you really need to get your APA style down. But they're kind.
Then you feel so cool once you do know it. You're like, oh,
Oh, exactly. I'm like, oh, I know how to reference everything.
yeah.
I mean, once you were able to figure out the library and how to know how to research, I mean, that was actually really fun to start reading through a lot of research on what's done on a particular topic.
Yes, really.
Are there any other questions from the group? I apologize for my lateness and the technical issues here.
That's I always look at, I mean, psychology is something you got to do from the heart to help people, but it's pretty much a superpower you have the certain knowledge and understanding of people. And you don't know so much, you'll tell them what to do. You just ask them questions. And
Mhm.
that is, very true. And I'll stop at that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Joe. There are no other questions. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you.
It's so great to
Thank
see
you,
you from,
guys.
it's so great to see you again.
Yeah,
Uh,
guys.
absolutely. Must catch up. Let's catch up with the group. So
All right.
if there are no other questions, thank you so much. Feel free to email me or Joe for any other, if you're interested, and happy to help you out in the admissions process.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Teresa.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
Joe. Thanks, Emily.
Or me. Feel free to email me if you want.
Bye.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks.
Bye, Emily.
Bye.